This episode is brought to you ad-free thanks to all of our wonderful patrons. You can help us keep the show going by joining at patreon.com/shonenflop. And welcome to this episode of Shonen Flop, where we talk about manga and Shonen Jump that didn't make it big. I'm David.
I'm Jordan.
Next week, we'll be covering Super Smartphone. If you'd like to read along with us, be sure to join the discussion in the Discord and submit your 6-word summary. You can find a link to the Discord in our episode description and on our website, shonenflop.com. But this week, we're talking about Sakuratetsu Taiwa-hen, and we are joined by our guest today, Kennedy.
Hello!
Woo! Kennedy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's so nice of you to say. Do you mind telling the listeners a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, hi.
Hi.
I'm Kennedy. I'm a YouTuber. I mostly make videos about, like, weird things that happen in, like, anime, fandom, culture / history.
What's anime?
Never heard of it.
It must be some kind of medieval England thing, honestly.
Oh, do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about medieval England. I've never heard of it.
Oh, man.
For those of you who don't know, I recently finished up grad school.
You might be familiar with my favorite manga of all time. It's actually got a weird name, like the Bayaku's Tapestry, I believe it's called. I don't know, some kind of weird Japanese term, you know?
Bao? Is that where Bao gets its name?
I think it is, David.
What?
Never heard of it. Can't imagine what it is.
Yeah,
It's anyone's guess.
Oh, have you heard of this Beowulf guy? Oh, that is awesome. I also want to say random thing. Well, two things. First of all, I absolutely love your video from like a few years ago, how you managed to find the Evangelion AIDS PSA.
Thank you. Well, I didn't so much find it as I did ask Tiffany Grant at the right time. She was the
that's
one
awesome.
who found it. She was the one who physically found the tape.
I love it.
Tiffany Grant.
The voice of Asuka.
I knew that's who it was going to be. I love her so much.
She was the voice of Asuka in the original dub.
The good dub.
Well, the new dub it's solid too. I think the new cast does a good job.
It's not the same.
But yeah, Tiffany Grant was the voice of Asuka in the ADV dub of Evangelion, and she was the one who physically found the tape. I was just the one lucky enough to ask her about it at the right time.
Hell yeah.
I still think that's awesome.
Well, thank you.
I need to watch that video. Tiffany Grant rules.
Tiffany Grant is a rock star.
I love how she was like already obsessed with Evangelion and Asuka before it came to the US.
And doesn't she actually speak German?
I'm not sure about that, but I can vouch for the, she's a huge Evangelion fan. I forget, I want to say it's on the Platinum DVD collection. I could be wrong about that, but there's one ADV Evangelion DVD collection that highlights her Asuka collection.
I love it.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's great.
We'll have to reach out. We've never actually had a voice actor on our show. We were very close. We had Kyle Herbert, but then it's just scheduling issues.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be awesome to see if she'll be free.
Yeah.
If she'd be free to come on.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about Evangelion.
Really? You sure?
Yes. We're here to talk about Sakuratetsu Taiwa-hen. So why don't we get into the manga details for Jordan? Guess what?
What?
I'm going to actually be reading this section for the first time in 3 episodes.
Oh my god!
So first thing I want to say is, per Tucker, one of our wonderful researchers, the manga name actually means dialogue or even oral history, because I had zero idea what the hell Sakuratetsu Taiwa-hen meant. And this manga was by Ryuu Fujisaki, and they have a few other notable works: Psycho Plus, which was a flop, Hoshin, Engi, which ran for 23 volumes, and also after creating this series, they did Walk Walk, which was a flop, Shiki, which was 11 volumes, Kukuriku Montagari, which is 8 volumes.
You can do it.
Kakurio Monogatari.
Kennedy, Jordan was just so proud of themselves pronouncing and then just fucked it up too. It's great.
Look, David, it wasn't that I was proud. It was that I wanted to have it said correctly, okay? It's still a difficult thing to pronounce.
This one I can say, they did the Legend of the Galactic Heroes manga adaptation, which is like, oh man, I've been meaning to watch that. Have either of you two had any experience with that series?
No, but David, I have let you get away with this for far too long. It's adaptation. I was gonna let you get away with it, then I noticed you spelled it adaptation. I was like, no.
Adaptation.
Thank you.
I was gonna stay quiet on it, but now that he's bringing it up...
Can't say words for shit.
It has been bugging me since episode 1 of Shonen Flop, and I have not said anything about it.
So, though, his notable assistants include Yasuhiro Kano, who did Pretty Face, which, Jordan, if you're not familiar, Pretty Face was another series by the creator. He also created M.O.
Oh.
We, Kennedy, have a limit of about 35 chapters, and M.O. is a series I've been wanting to cover forever, but since it's 99 chapters, you can't do it in one episode. So that has been our short list. One day, if we ever have the time to do like a mini series on one manga in particular, we really want to cover it.
David's been nuts about that one.
I'm terrified it doesn't hold up. We'll see.
Well, that's okay. It would be on the right show if that were the case.
That's true. And then he also was assisted by Muinori Michimoto, who created AON and Daisuo. Also, thank you, MaxyBee, for your wonderful research on this topic.
Thank you so much, MaxyBee.
MaxyBee is a manga historian, which is pretty awesome. And they have said, though, that both are referred to as close friends, but they helped him on his comics, and that counts on this show, he wrote in all caps.
Yes, it does. We respect friendship.
This ran from December 4th, 2001 to April 23rd, 2002. So not very long, 14 chapters, 2 volumes, as was the style at the time.
Was it really 14 chapters, though?
Yes, kind of. I don't know.
It was like 18.
I can't tell. I have no idea.
It was weird.
Yeah, it went from like 11.5 to 11.25 to 11.75.
I mean, if you're a fan of Evangelion, this is nothing new.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sakuratetsu Taiwa-hen, you cannot end.
With parentheses somewhere, and you'll have to guess where where those parentheses are.
Oh, God. And this replaced Grand Vacant, which actually, Kennedy, I think you'll find this series interesting. It's about Shakespeare, Francis Drake, and Queen Elizabeth as children.
Oh my God.
MaxyBee has said they cannot find a translation of this series anywhere.
That's the problem with old manga. I'm shocked that we even have a translation of this as interesting as it is.
Right?
It's not a great translation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this actually was replaced by Pretty Face, so his own assistant replaced the series.
Oh my God, damn.
Which is kind of weird.
Damn.
But speaking of weird, why don't we get into the plot summary where, as a little treat, I'm going to kick things off. Sakura Tetsu is a kid of the Sigma CEO grind set, working the shittiest jobs to make as much money as possible to maintain his house that he cares deeply about. He lives with his brother Teppy, his grandfather Bokeh.
His name is literally Bokusan, David.
Oh God, that series fucking sucked. Kenny, you don't need to know about that series. It was ass.
Yeah.
There sounds like there's a lot of backstory here.
Yes. The Shonen Flop lore is vast.
There's a lot of trauma.
Is this on the Shonen Flop fan wiki anywhere?
We had a TV tropes page and then they deleted it.
Oh,
I know it sucks. So his grandfather Bokeh and his sister Kusan. Oh wow, is that Bokeh-san? It's almost the name Bokeh-san.
Literally, oh my God, David.
You'll get him next time. While being stalked by a mysterious girl named Furato, suddenly a ship appears with a giant tree. They are the future people led by their queen Alice. Hey, I can say that name.
Yeah.
Who jumped to the past 6 hours before the universe ended. They want to take Tetsu's land, but then a space pirate and the mole people appear to challenge them for it. Furato suggests they go to war, and they do, fighting to a standstill, leaving Tetsu in charge, but with Alice living with them as his quote-unquote sister. Then, Prince of Hell Nietzsche appears to lay claim to the land, but Kusan drops a rock on his portal, trapping him there with no way to get home, leaving him broke, homeless, and forced to live in a cardboard box. He turned into the average millennial. A giant eye appears in the sky, and then Furato decides to measure Tetsu's asshole, but since his sister is here, Tetsu refuses. The god of assholes appears, and Furato instead wishes to know the size of his asshole, Popcorn Kennedy.
And because all of that just wasn't weird enough, of course.
That was all literally true, by the way.
Yes.
That all happens in the span of 4 chapters, something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So at this point, the president of Japan, who speaks French for some reason, tries to blow up Tetsu's house, but Tetsu kicks his ass, and I'm sorry in advance, there's no way I'm pronouncing his name right.
Nietzsche. Yeah.
The Prince of Hell.
The German philosopher from the 1800s and whatever. I don't get it.
Prince of Hell, suffice to say. The Prince of Hell's pet shows up from a new portal from Hell. He's Zoroaster, a giant sea otter creature who turns into different manga characters when Furato... Side note, I'm almost positive her name is supposed to be Flat. I don't know.
Oh
Furato
my God.
Just seems like such a weird name. I am 99% sure her name is supposed to be Flat, but whatever.
Oh my God. My mind is blown right now.
Big brain.
So, Furato gives him poison mushrooms until he transforms into a kaiju. Furato's brother Kiseno returns from the Middle East and buys Tetsu's house off of his sister in exchange for a magic credit card. Tetsu then buys the house back in exchange for leaving the Sakura family. However, Furato reveals that Tetsu's grandpa is the only survivor from his family in World War II and had no kids. Teppei is actually a demon, Kiseno is a ghost, and no one knows where the hell Tetsu came from, but legally, Sakura isn't their last name. Tetsu doesn't know this, so he still fights and gets the deed back. A pervert narcissist from the mirror dimension shows up. Don't worry about it. Then a guy who controls dreams makes all the characters fall asleep. Alice and Tetsu are in some kind of ice age where everyone is dead and everyone else is in hell. Prato checks in on what's going on and accidentally lets them out. Unfortunately, this manga is really fucking weird and confusing, so the manga fairies get together and decide that it's gotta be canceled. The only way they can think to do that is by isekaiing a reader from the real world and telling him that he has to kill Tetsu and end the manga or he'll never go back.
That was so crazy when that happened.
Even saying it out loud, I'm still not sure I followed everything that happened. I got to a point where I just checked out. Things were just happening and I was like, sure,
Yeah.
why not? Popcorn Jordan.
He shows up and starts pointing out that he's in a comic, like he's Grant Morrison's Animal Man or something. Yeah, that's a reference.
Great series.
Fuck yeah, it is. Fighting Tetsu until he realizes he actually doesn't want to kill him. So the manga fairies just send him back home anyway. Then Heidegger, the manga god, appears, telling Tetsu that he fucked up by putting him in this manga, that he's just the wrong kind of protagonist and wants to put him in a different series instead. Tetsu and Frato pretend to get married and leave their families when Tetsu gets placed in a different series. Welcome to Shonen Flop Chibi, a First Impressions mini-episode where we talk about the first chapter of a series we'll be covering in depth next week. Now let's get into the fucking plot summary for chapter 1 of The Desert Wilderness. Not a single drop of water by Ryuu Fujisaki. The evil monster Ushiro wants to take over a desert oasis protected by the powerful Dawn. In the process of fighting him, Dawn's two best friends sacrifice themselves and turn into a sword, allowing him to defeat Ushiro. Then Dawn looks over and sees his house as well as his sister Kuzan and remembers that he's actually Sakuratetsu. Fucking incredible ending.
Even listening to this, I still don't get it. I sat there and I read the whole thing and I still don't get it.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, this was a very advanced manga to read.
This was definitely advanced.
Yeah.
This is no Zon.
No.
Kennedy, if you ever chance Zon, you're like, are you sure like a 14-year-old didn't make this? Because it's really, really bad.
This is like Galaxy Brain manga.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into discussion of it, but to get into the characters, Kennedy, would you like to tell us a little bit about the main character?
Sakura Tetsu of Sakuratetsu Taiwa-hen fame.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Oh, yeah, I know that guy.
I mean, it's like you said earlier, he's in that Sigma male CEO grind set mentality. He's messy, he's sleepy, he likes to make money, and he has super strength that literally, not figuratively, literally comes from being a manga protagonist.
Yeah, literally, diegetically, he's...
He looks to me like, I don't know if y'all remember D&' Angel.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, he looks like the main character of D&' Angel. He looks like Daisuke Niwa, but made edgier. I don't know. He looks like someone took Daisuke Niwa and put him through a how to draw manga book filter.
We mentioned this on like the Chibi episode. The faces in this manga are so 2002, you know, like 2001. Like this is some fucking pre-Shonen Jump in America manga, you know.
Absolutely leans into that Y2K like Sega Genesis aesthetic.
Yeah.
Or actually no, Sega Dreamcast is what I meant.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Oh, dude, the shoes on this the Prince dude?
Yeah.
Those are some fucking Sonic Adventure shoes.
That is some Kingdom Hearts, Diva Stars.
Shadow the Hedgehog, yeah.
The year is 2000, you know, very that. Very,
yes.
Everybody is wearing shoes like 5 sizes too big.
These are Tenchi Muyo-ass faces.
Oh, yes. And speaking of people who have that face, Jordan, will you tell us about Flat?
Frato, aka Flat, I guess.
It's just a possibility. I'm just throwing it out that it could also be Frat.
Look, I'm going with it because I like it. Okay.
We read Earthchild, Kennedy, and one of the characters' name is like Kareen, and we just called her Karen for the entire recording. So this attitude is welcome.
Yeah. So Flat, she is friends with Tetsu, and she is actually like weirdly obsessed with him. She's like a stalker, and she's writing all of her inner monologue down about him, like verbatim. And according to the translator, since Taiwa-hen means dialogue, her book is literally the Sakuratetsu Taiwa-hen.
Yeah, and I think she can teleport.
I think she has like weird god powers.
Yeah.
She's got something going on.
Yeah, like she is super powered in some weird ways, like Deus Ex Machina cartoon logic powers, you know?
I'm trying to think of which cartoon character in particular, maybe like Mandy from Adventures of Billy and Mandy, where she's just like a little kid that just somehow has it like all the adults figured out and actually does.
Like if Mandy went on antidepressants.
Sure.
Oh, come on.
All right, let's get to Queen Alice. So she is a future people leader somehow. I thought she would matter more, but I guess I didn't write any notes. She is the only one that's kind of persistent in the plot, but she just kind of is there.
Like, I guess their grandfather is suffering from dementia, and she tricks him into believing that she's his granddaughter, I think.
I mean, it's not the first time that's happened. Literally, all of their siblings are not actually related to him.
That's true, but it also turns out that the future people she leads, there's only 5 of them who are actually human beings. All the other ones went to different planets, but what that means is that all the people she leads are actually robots.
Yeah.
And she is just very happy to be in a time where it's like, oh my god, there's other human beings here.
A real human being.
Real human being. She is. She's shaped like a bean.
You know who wasn't shaped like a bean? Our cute little demon boy. Kennedy, will you tell us about him?
Friedrich Nietzsche?
Yes.
I was going to say about Alice, if someone had told me she was a Space Channel 5 character,
Oh, that's a good point.
I would 100% have believed that. If I hadn't read this and someone showed me a picture, I'd be like, character from Space Channel 5.
Speaking of Dreamcast.
Oh yeah, because he's got the shoes.
Yeah.
Well, that was a Dreamcast game, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Space Channel 5, yes.
I miss my Dreamcast.
All right, so can you tell us about Nietzsche?
Yeah, please tell us about the demon boy.
There's really not much to say about him. He's the prince from hell.
There's not much to say.
He lives in a box, and, you know, characters in Sakuratetsu Taiwa-hen, aside from Sakuratetsu and Flat, you know, the thing is, a lot of them show up, they have, like, one chapter that's about them, and then they have, like, one cameo later, and that's, like, it.
Yeah.
So when I say there's not a whole lot to say about him, I mean it. You would think the Prince from Hell would have a bigger role in this manga, but no, he just shows up, he gets his portal to Hell closed, and then he decides to live in a box, and that's just kind of it.
Yeah, none of these characters really matter.
He also has to collect soda cans.
He does collect soda cans.
In order to sell them to buy ramen.
He does do that, I remember now.
It's actually very sad.
He steps on like 100 of them, and he's like, I did it. Now I have enough money to buy a ramen.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean,
God.
he really learns that the real hell is capitalism.
Yeah.
So though, I'll keep this train going though, because we have a bunch of characters that didn't matter that I deleted. So next up is Kusan, his sister, quote unquote. She kind of reminds me of Palm from Hunter x Hunter, with like how she always looks like very like depressed and has like permanent like tired marks. I'm trying to think of what the right word is for it.
Yeah, she just looks tired all the time, like just completely overworked. I kind of saw it because she's supposed to represent like the spirit of the land that they're on.
Yeah.
I think the implication is that she's the only one doing the fucking work around the house, so she's just exhausted all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out she's also a ghost, so I don't know which one caused her to look so deadly tired all the time.
She's also loves shopping. Sakura Tetsu is literally like, oh, she steals all my money to go shopping. And you're like, that's kind of fucked up, bro.
She also loves criminals. Remember, like that pervert who shows up for one chapter, they're all like, oh, he's a criminal. And she's like, hey, criminals need to be respected. And, you know, I respect that.
That's fair. And I respect the two of you. So shall we go to their younger sibling, though?
Yeah.
Kennedy, can you tell us a bit about the Jar Jar Binks of this series?
The other Genesis-looking character.
Yeah.
To an extent, this can be said about everybody in Sakuratetsu Taiwa-hen, but I feel like it is especially true for him. Everybody in this manga, but especially Teppei, looks like they stepped right out of a How to Draw manga book.
Yeah.
And that is especially true for Teppei. He's like the little brother character. Apparently he's a spirit, whatever. I don't understand the plot for this
No one
series.
does.
I
No.
don't care.
And Jordan wrote the plot summary.
Yeah. I don't think there is a plot.
I think you're right, but he definitely gives off the impression that, like, if this manga had, you know, taken off and gone on for longer, he definitely gives off the vibe that he was, you know, going to be the mascot character. Because, you know, it's the early 2000s, it's the turn of the millennium, and all the cool shows have a little mascot character, so.
Mm-hmm.
Why does he talk in like a racist patois?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on with that?
I think that's probably a translation thing. He probably talks like with a lisp, maybe in the Japanese version. Maybe again, I don't know that for a fact. This is just my guess that he probably talked in a childlike way, or maybe has like a strong lisp in the Japanese version, and they probably wanted to like try to make that come across in English. And then they succeeded in making it extremely obnoxious and hard to read.
Yeah.
For all I know, it is that bad in Japanese, and the translators actually did a very solid job. But given the quality of the rest of the translation,
By the way, David, do you know why the Japanese president speaks in French? Because there is a reason.
Yeah, there is a translator note about that.
There is. I just thought it was funnier to say he speaks in French for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the presidents speak French.
I think the reasoning is funny, so...
Yeah, well, why don't you tell the audience what the reason is?
In the original Japanese translation, that character speaks English in addition to Japanese. Yep. So when the translator moved it over to English, he was like, well, if I just make it English, that's going to defeat the entire point. So I'll just make it in French instead.
I guess they hadn't made like the nomenclature of how you do that in manga yet, which is like you do a different font or you put it in brackets.
Or you just swap it so that that part is in Japanese and the other part's in English.
Oh, that's pretty great too.
You know, of all the weird translation choices in this manga, honestly, to me, that one is the least weird. I can at least rationalize how they got there, and it's like, the year is like 2000, 2001-ish. It's like the turn of the millennium. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
As I said on the chibi, there's no way this guy got paid for this.
No, but he had a lot of fun making it.
He put a lot of effort in, you know, you gotta hand it to him.
And you know who didn't have a lot of fun? The reader.
The reader.
The reader.
I love how this series literally has the reader of this manga shows up as like kind of a bad guy for like 2 chapters.
Yeah, oh, it was great.
Summons Luffy, goes home.
This dude just goes by manga, opens it up, and gets pulled into the manga by the manga god and like the manga fairies. And his purpose is to just kill the protagonist so they can end the fucking series. And he like starts being like, hey, can you see these manga panels? Can you see these borders right here? What do you mean you can't see them? What? Yeah, and he just wants to go home, you know?
He literally just summons Luffy and goes home. I realize that to the audience, us saying it like that probably makes it sound like, oh, they're just being hyperbolic. He probably does a little more. No, that's it.
He also summons a giant weird-ass robot and, like, talks to Alice a bit, and then...
Yeah, but he does this in the span of, 10 pages? He summons Luffy, and he goes home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what any one of us would have done.
Pretty much.
Best of all, it's not like Luffy-ass Luffy, it's like a poorly drawn.
It's how Luffy would have drawn himself.
Yeah.
Look, they got a manga reader, not a manga artist.
That's true.
But they also have a manga god. So, Jordan, you added this character to the notes, so why don't you tell us about it real quick, and then we're gonna zip to the next section.
Yeah. So for some reason, he's named Heidegger. I don't know what the deal is.
First name Tim.
Well, that's Heidegger.
Ah, fuck me.
Yeah. No, Heidegger is a German philosopher like Nietzsche was. They were both weirdly influential on the Nazis.
And that's all the time we have for today.
All right, yeah. No, I don't know what the fuck this shit is with like these old German philosophers. I don't understand how the manga god relates to him, but yeah, he's definitely the author insert, and he's literally just like, damn, I fucked up. Oh, look at this fucking mess I made. Oh my god, look at this shit. Tetsu, get over here. We're putting you in a different series. Fucking, yeah, I love it.
All right, shall we go into why it failed, though?
You know, I have a better question for you.
Yeah.
How could it not have failed?
Yeah!
How could it not have failed?
That's fair.
You know what, Kennedy? That's a great question. So why don't you tell us about the things you did not like about the series? And as you said, how would the series have possibly succeeded?
Oh, golly. I suppose I can come up with 1 or 2 things I didn't like if I really got a gun to my head.
What?
By far the biggest flaw of this series is the pacing. I have seen TikToks that take longer to set up a plot than Sakuratetsu Taiwa-hen. The pacing is frantic. It's breakneck. Like, every chapter is formatted basically like a showcase of like, here's all these characters, and then they do nothing with them.
Yep.
It does nothing in the way of setting up an overarching plot except for Alice is here and everybody wants the land, except Alice, we don't see her for several chapters at a time because there's too many other characters being introduced that also want the land, except we don't see them going after the land. We just see all these characters.
I would argue that the plot doesn't get started until they decided that they have to end the manga. I feel like that's the only time there's actually, like, a plot going on.
Even when a plot does finally get started, which is like, more than 50% of the way through, it's so convoluted. I have so many notes here just saying stuff like, I give up. I can't handle this. What's going on? I don't care. The protags are getting married. Why the hell not? It's the least weird thing that's happened so far. I neither know nor care what's going on anymore. Oh, hey, finally, a character from a previous chapter. Haven't seen that, and we're more than 50% of the way through the series.
I feel like this series, it was kind of like just a series of weird one-shots.
Kind of what it felt like. It was a series of weird one-shots.
Yeah.
Kennedy, are you familiar with Level E? It's by Tagashi.
By Level E, do you mean the vampires in Vampire Night?
No. So it's a manga Tagashi made in between Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter, where it's kind of like an anthology series where he just made like mini chapter arcs of like random ass ideas he had.
Yeah.
And that's what this series feels like.
Not familiar with it. It does feel like a series of one-shots. It feels like an artist being like, here's a showcase of some of my OCs that I haven't been able to put in any other series, so I'm just going to throw them in here.
What it really feels like to me is that somebody was just like, hey, Fujisaki, I need you to make another series in, like, now. And he's like, fuck, I don't have any ideas. Shit. Oh, I don't know.
It's the Gunblaze West method.
Yeah, except I think he did a better job than Gunblaze West.
Oh, this is way better than Gunblaze West.
This is way better than Gunblaze West. Don't read Gunblaze West.
Yeah, Kennedy, don't do it. I also think it's absolutely complete fucking bullshit that they made all of the cast leave in the second chapter, off-screen them. So, like, the things that could have made the series actually interesting, they're like, that's too much effort. I don't want to juggle all these characters. I'm just going to have the space bar and the mole people leave, you know?
Yeah,
like, that was the fucking fun thing about the series.
This manga, it kind of pulls the rug out from under you.
Yes.
Like, it's kind of like, in the second chapter, you're like, wait, that's not what this manga was about?
Right?
Like, oh.
Yeah, no, that happens like every chapter.
Yeah, it really feels like this manga was like almost intended to be a flop. Like he wrote it intentionally, almost as a parody of bad manga.
I think he did.
Diegetically, it somehow helps it. Like, it's bizarre.
Yeah. I also think, is there any character development at all?
Zero. None.
And that asshole chapter was funny for 5 pages, but how do you dedicate an entire chapter to an asshole fairy or an asshole goddess?
Like that.
God, it was so bad.
He did it. Like Sailor Moon shows up and she's just like the goddess of assholes. And
oh my God.
yeah, it was like, apparently the term asshole was specifically interpreted as meaning close-minded. So it was like, if he has a little asshole, that means that he's very narrow-minded. But if he has a big gaping asshole, then he is just extremely open-minded.
Sure.
I have a note here in my little notes doc, and it's that screenshot of him saying, I have a massive asshole, parentheses, open-minded.
God, what a translation was that?
Fucking rules! I think it is possible. I don't know this, but I feel like it's possible that in Japanese, maybe asshole does mean, like, close-minded.
I feel like they would have had a translator note. They literally had to explain his fucking siblings to the lore because it made no sense in the chapter how they existed.
That was the translator note. Like,
It's one of those things, yeah, no, there was a translator's note about it. It's just one of those things where it's like, you know, in English, we don't really have a good equivalent to that, and it would require a lot of creativity to really make that work.
Yes.
And the translator definitely took the easy way out.
Yeah.
And let me be clear, I don't blame them. It's a fan translation, I'm sure, and they weren't getting paid.
I think they did the best job that they could have done given the circumstances.
Yeah.
More often than not, they did a decent job, but there's definitely sections where you're reading it and you're like, oh,
I think, though, like you were saying, that the translation does have some ups and downs, but it does have some ups, just like this series does. So why don't we get into what it did well? So Jordan, though, I know you enjoyed this series, actually, unironically, to an extent. So what were some things about it that made you actually like the series?
So I've never read a series like this. This series kind of fucking rules in a lot of ways. I mean, it's so insane.
The art, man.
The art is fantastic. We were saying it looks like a how to draw manga thing, but like, first of all, to be fair, this was drawn when that wasn't a super played out style, I would argue. And second of all, oh my God, just the detail he gets, the way, like the compositions look good. Like I can tell exactly what's going on in every single panel, even though the most insane, bizarre shit is going on. Like I have an issue with Oda's art where sometimes I read a panel of One Piece and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? It's just a bunch of random, I can't figure out where anybody is. I never had that problem in this series, which is amazing.
It's just the plot. That's the problem.
Well, yeah.
Let me be clear. When I say it looks like a how to draw manga book, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
That is a compliment. That is a certain aesthetic, and I love that aesthetic. And honestly, I don't like this series very much, but I will not deny the art owns.
Yes, the art is shockingly good.
It's disproportionately good to the rest of the series.
There's like a panel where he draws like realistic people and they look amazing.
Yeah, this guy can draw.
This guy's a really fucking good artist. I was shocked. Like there weren't any 3D models in here when he drew like a fucking building. This motherfucker got out a ruler to get the perspective right. That's amazing. Hell yeah, man.
And I think the good art adds to the... I think some of the actual physical comedy is pretty funny. Like the tree freaking out when it's being cut out, like the faces he draws on the tree.
That was really good. The tree in general is really funny. Like there is weirdly like a lot of stuff that works here. I feel like this manga ended in the only way that it could have ended. Like the absolute, the best possible way that you could end this series was to just completely break the fourth wall and go, yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on either.
Yeah.
I wrote it. I don't know what the fuck's happening.
You figure it out.
Whatever. Fuck it. Yeah. And I agree with you guys. This shit should be canceled. Let's cancel this fucking series. Kennedy, are you familiar with Hunter's Guild Red Hood?
I have been waiting to mention that.
Yeah.
I am not familiar with it.
That series ended where you can easily read it, and I do read it this way, where the author just starts lashing out at his editor. Like, he doesn't directly break the fourth wall, but like he has a character go up to another character and go like, hey, what the fuck? You used to be like way more interesting.
Yeah, like not a joke.
This reminded me of that, except whereas that one was angry at the editor, this one's just kind of like, yeah, guys, I fucked up.
I think it was all on him.
This is my fault. It was on me. It's on me. I fucked up.
But we're here to be positive. So, Kennedy, though, do you have any other positive notes that you want to bring up?
Nope.
All right, then.
No, that was my positive. I thought that was awesome. I thought that was, like, really interesting.
Yeah, but, well, you were saying it's hit the author admits that his series kind of fell apart. It's not the compliment you're looking for.
He ended it really cool. I don't know. I thought it was interesting how he diegetically made it a flop. Amazing.
Oh, God.
At a certain point, I was just kind of like, you know what? I did what you guys did, where I was just like, I give up trying to follow it. But then I was just like, oh, why don't I try having a good time too?
Yeah, you turn your brain off, and it's not bad.
I turned my brain off, had a great time. It's like watching a B horror movie.
Yeah, or the B movie.
No, that's just.
Hey, Kennedy, do you like jazz?
No.
Kennedy, do you like thinking about where the series could have gone?
It could have gone anywhere. It tried doing so many different things at once. They could have tried anything, and I would have been like, sure, yeah, whatever. It's not even in the top 5 weirdest things it tried to do. Sure, why not?
I'll never forget when I was in art class. One of my classmates we were talking about art, and they were like, well, anything can happen in art. And she was just like, well, if anything can happen, then who cares what does? And that's kind of how I feel about this. Like, yeah, anything could have happened. So, like, I don't know, man. I honestly feel like breaking the fourth wall really was the only way that you could have ended this series.
Yeah.
It was so insane. There was such weird shit happening that I really don't know how you could have possibly just said, oh, well, they could have gone to this part. I mean, I guess where it could have gone is that replacement series could have kept going.
What if this had, they had just not kicked everyone out and it turned into, this huge legal battle? Like, imagine this is, the She-Hulk manga where it's fucking fantasy court.
Is that what the She-Hulk
Well, She-Hulk
show
is like
about?
superhero lawyer
Oh, and then she says like a bunch of memes and
breaks the fourth wall constantly.
oh yeah, that sounds like a show that isn't super annoying. I'll definitely have to check that out.
It was pretty good.
Okay.
You're canceled, Jordan.
I'm super canceled. Yeah.
Kennedy, it's just you and me now since Jordan's fired.
It's a real shame about Jordan.
Yeah, now we can really talk about medieval history like I always wanted to do.
Now we are hijacking this podcast. This is the Everything We Hate About Jordan podcast.
Oh.
Now that Jordan is no longer around to stop us.
But we only have 45 minutes left on the clock.
Can I get in on this? I have so much to say.
Yeah. All right, no. So does anyone have any other thoughts about where it could have gone?
I don't know. Do you have any ideas where it could have gone?
Just, I feel like it would have really been fun if it was like this weird ass land claim thing. Like maybe it could have been like a gag manga where every week there's some new weirdo trying to lay a claim on the house and then they have to figure out how to get rid of him, or he joins the cast and it's just like a bunch of, laughs and have a little bit of minor plot progression. It's, Jordan, I'm sure you won't be surprised by what manga I recommend based on how I think that would have been a good progression for the series structure.
Oh, I saw. What structure?
Yeah. All right, but if no one has anything else to talk about where the series could have gone, why don't we get into miscellaneous thoughts? Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
I think I've already mentioned this felt like a level E story. Luffy shows up, which is just, I don't know how to deal with that. This translation's really bad. I feel like the series would have been worse if it had a better translation. Oh, I was just thinking it just kind of adds to the energy of the series.
God help you, translator. You tried. I believe in you. You can do it.
I think it was a little bold of him, already working hard on the translation and stuff, to just be like, yeah, what if I just make this character talk in a Jamaican patois?
Talks like Jar Jar Binks.
He literally does.
That was definitely the low point.
I don't think that was a necessary thing.
There are better ways of making it come across that this character speaks in a way that is very annoying to everybody around them, or this character speaks in a way that is very childlike. There are definitely better ways of getting it across than, ooh.
Then literally just, as David has said multiple times, Jar Jar Binks dialogue. Just insane. What a wild choice.
Misa think that was a bad idea.
Oh.
I got to a point with that character where I just, the words...
Just skimmed over it, yeah.
I saw them, but nothing was registering.
I like how in South Park they made fun of Jar Jar Binks before the movie came out, because they sound like in a trailer and like, oh, he's going to be super fucking annoying the whole time.
Yeah, they called it, man. Wow. South Park, damn, they really just have their fingers on the pulse of culture, as they say. There's like too many miscellaneous thoughts. Every thought you could have about this series feels miscellaneous.
It's very disjointed.
Yeah.
The series literally like restarts itself every chapter.
This series starts itself in the middle of chapters sometimes, I feel. I really just... Oh my god, like, were they gonna have, like, a character named Hegel, do you think?
Yeah.
Was Marx gonna show up? Maybe, Merliel Ponty? I'm just listing off all the philosophers I know. I don't even fucking know, dude. I don't know what to say about this shit.
I don't know, but MaxyBee actually has a few points. So let me run through these real quick. So We've covered a lot of notable authors on the podcast, whether through their canceled works or when you've indulged in a hit. Fujisaki is somewhere around the top 5 of all of those creators in importance. So apparently this guy was a big fucking deal.
Yeah. We
don't talk a lot about him in the West for whatever reason, but he's got a hell of a body of work and is one of MaxyBee's favorite authors of all time. Sorry, MaxyBee. Yeah. Regardless of how you rate the series, I hope you've enjoyed the experience and will hopefully return one day to his other translated failure, Whack Whack. You're straight from Psycho Plus, which is actually very bad. No one seems to want to license or scanlate it.
Oh.
And astute readers will spot that his career to this point mirrors Yoshihiro Togashi to a scary extent. Both had flops out the gate that no one remembers, a one-shot collection, then a huge hit, then pivoted to weird sci-fi. MaxyBee was like my fucking man when I pointed out the level E comparisons. They diverge a lot from here, with one doing lots of different projects, another one doing a lot of stuff with one giant never-ending project. It's weird. Shout out Hunter x Hunter had a chapter came out yesterday, though, which was exciting.
Yeah, I saw that.
The replacement manga at the end continues a gag from Hoshin Engi, where Ryu's comics always get replaced by comics by a new Ryuu Fujisaki.
Shin Ryuu Fujisaki, yeah.
And MaxyBee says, by the way, that weird how there were multiple ending chapters, that was actually how it was published in Shonen Jump. They don't know why they did that.
Very strange.
Yes, and he rates the manga 5 stars, besides it being stupid, dumb, stupid chaos.
Hell yeah, MaxyBee. I'm kind of with you on that.
Yeah, so why don't we get into the final verdict then? Oh, gosh. Kennedy, as our time is wrapping up, do you mind telling us kind of what was your 6-word summary for this series?
I came up with 2.
Lay them both on us.
Literally, what was any of that? Semicolon. What the fuck is going on?
And what was your second one?
No, that was it. That's what the semicolon was.
Oh, gotcha. See, you can see that Kennedy has a master's degree because they use a semicolon in their in their 6-word summary.
Yeah.
It's a known fact that people with master's degrees are the only ones allowed to use semicolons.
I actually did a marketing class, and they actually have it where they analyze different profiles based on if you use a semicolon in your writing or not when they're analyzing your writings on social media.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's freaky.
So what was your sword?
I really just don't know, dude.
It's okay, man.
Accurate.
I know that's yours.
Yeah, really. I have to go with a 6-word summary? I don't fucking know.
I'll read mine after I read the community. So from Tucker, gag manga becomes self-aware and self-destructs. MaxyBee, Sakura Tetsu's dialogue gets me a talkin'! ! Dude rocks. What happens when you ignore APL? That's like some sort of like land legal system. Base carrier, the housing market never improved. Sad emoji, and they wanted me to know that is one of their words. Dragonidi, a elaborate left field ending. Yay. The laughing fool.
Yeah, with a question mark, I would like to say.
Oh yeah, yay, ? T-Wolfwood says, weird, but not that entertaining. The laughing fool. Just 3 words. Location, location, location. And from the MF Yeti, Kirby's Existential Acid Trip Turf War. And mine was about homeless punchlines looking for housing. Because really, it felt like he had a bunch of jokes and he didn't know how to insert them into his series.
Yeah.
And then, well, Jordan, yeah, if you're going to start kicking off, overall, how did you feel about the series?
I actually kind of love this series. I thought it kind of kicked ass, but it is definitely, absolutely, diegetically a flop. This is a mess, but it was a really interesting mess. I'm not going to forget it, and I enjoyed reading it.
Jordan has said diegetic at least 7 times during this recording.
It's the word of the day.
It is.
Diegetic. I said it a few more times. Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man. No, but if you want something this crazy, I think I recommended it like a long time ago, but watch Xavier Renegade.
Oh my fucking god.
It's the only thing I can think of that's like as crazy and bizarre as this.
Kennedy, are you familiar with that series?
I am not.
You really should. I don't even, like, what level of irony do you have to be on to enjoy that show, Jordan?
Way more levels of irony than should have been accessible at the time that it was written.
Yeah.
You have to ascend beyond the plane of irony.
I was in the Anime Out of Context Discord, and I suggested that they should cover Chainsaw Man. And someone responded saying, to me, said, oh, I really hope they have Shonen Flop as a guest on that episode. And I couldn't tell if they were just like at a very ascendant level of irony, you know?
It's hard to tell sometimes.
I am Balaguchi.
I also can't tell what level of irony this series was on, to be honest.
I don't know. Red Barb, what do you think?
I'm going to be completely honest. We're going to get off this podcast and the whole series. I'm going to forget all of it.
Yeah,
I'm going to forget
That's
all of
totally
it. I'm
fine.
going to remember that it exists, but like, I'm going to remember it was fucking weird. And then people are going to be like, in what way was it fucking weird? And I'm going to be like, just was.
Just TV static whenever you think of this series.
It just was.
I love
I
it.
think that is a perfectly understandable response.
Oh, God.
So would you say it's a flop?
I think that's certainly among the words that you could use to describe it, yes.
Is it a certified flop?
In some ways, yeah. It's like with me, what really one of the other things that makes this series so weird to me is that I can't tell if the author was like intentionally like how good did they think this was? Like there's no way they thought, "Oh, yes, I'm penning my masterpiece. This is my magnum opus."
No, they definitely didn't think that.
They literally ended the manga by going, man, this sucks, guys.
Yeah, and that makes me think that even the author was like, you know, penning this up and being like, this is garbage. I am not meaning for it to be any good, whatever. And, you know, it's different when, you know, something is bad, but the author also knows it's bad and like even tells the audience, I think this is also bad. You know, in that way, it's not a flop because, well, they're right. And if they weren't trying, you know, how harshly can it really be judged, you know?
I definitely don't think this is a matter of lack of effort. I think this is a matter of the author got like halfway through and was like, shit, this is just not working. This is just not fucking working.
It's a flop in that I did not enjoy it. I'd be curious to know what the author, like the mindset they were making the series under. I'd be very curious to know. Shiki, this was not. And they also, the reason I chose this series when y'all gave me the list is because Shiki is, I consider that to be my all-time favorite anime. Fuyumi Ono wrote the story of Shiki, and then this guy did the art.
Mm-hmm.
And Shiki, this was not.
This was no Shiki, as they say.
This was no Shiki.
So would you say that you recommend people check out Shiki instead of Sakuratetsu Taiwa-hen?
I always tell people to check out Shiki, but Shiki is great. Like I said, the story of Shiki is written by Fuyumi Ono, who also wrote The 12 Kingdoms, among a couple other horror series. But yeah, Shiki is like, when I talk about my all-time favorite anime, it's Shiki in One Piece.
Damn.
Yeah, Shiki is great. It's a horror series. It's nothing like Sakuratetsu Taiwa-hen, except in that, like I said, the art and the manga. Originally, it was novels, but obviously the manga art is the same artist, so the art looks very stylized. But
yeah, that's totally fine. I mean,
yeah,
like, yeah, sure, get this guy to make art. Yeah,
but yeah, Shiki is good if you like horror and you like things that are stylish, things that are made in the same vein of bizarreness. I don't know. I thought really hard about what I would also recommend to people in the same vein as this, and I was like, it's like nothing because it tries to do so many things. Like, I don't know, Excel Saga.
Oh yeah, people in the chat were talking about Excel Saga and Cromartie High School.
Oh my god!
Yeah, Excel Saga, Jungle Goo, I don't know, JoJo's.
Oh, there we go.
I think Excel Saga is weirdly the perfect alternative thing to check out, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that you nailed it.
I don't know about that. I can think of something, because no one has asked me what I thought of this series yet. And
What
I'm
have you
very
thought of
hurt.
this
What do you
series?
think of this series, Dave?
I thought it was just okay.
What a hot take.
Hey.
Right? So I would say this is just a regular flop. I would say, though, people should read Witch Watch, which, oh man, Jordan can back me up. That series fucking rules.
Yeah, it does, but also Excel Saga is a more accurate thing to check out in this vein. I'm just saying, David.
Fine.
Like, yeah, definitely read Witch Watch. Witch Watch fucking owns, but,
Kennedy, have you read Witch Watch?
I haven't, but I love that name. I'd like to say it. Witch Watch. I love saying that.
I think the author's prior series actually was like one of the first Shonen Jump series to have, I think, a non-binary character in it.
Oh, sick!
Yeah, so it's just a very, very well done series.
All right, I'll look into that. I like the name Witch Watch also, so I'll definitely remember it's called that.
Who witches the watch witcher?
Who watches the witch watch which watches?
Joe Mama.
Yeah, which watches on base first. Let's keep going.
All right, so Jordan, is this the best or worst series we've ever talked about?
Neither.
All right, well, then let's get into shoutouts. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Sorry, we forgot to say, Kennedy, go read Chainsaw Man 2. That's really good. You're like, hard pass.
I haven't read Chainsaw Man yet. I'm meaning to get around to it now that the anime's out, but if I may confess my sin, I have not read or watched it quite yet.
Damn.
It is totally fine.
Be gone! No, whatever.
I keep meaning to get to it. It's not like I'm not like actively trying to avoid it. It just there's a lot of things airing this season, okay?
No, it's fine. I think Witch Watch will be a much better use of your time based on what your tastes.
Noted. Thank you.
Yes. All right. But now, in our final few minutes, let's get into shoutouts. So ready? I want to start things off by saying, Kennedy, thank you so much for joining us. Where can our wonderful listeners find all of the awesome things you do?
Thank you again for having me. Had a lot of fun. Y'all can find me, like I said earlier, I'm on YouTube. I'm done with grad school now, so I'm actually uploading content again. Very exciting.
Is that your username?
My username is redbardiscool.
Ooh.
Because I'm redbard and because I'm, quite frankly, I'm pretty cool.
I agree.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you. I am also on Twitter, and those are the two sites I'm mostly on.
I saw you like retweeting stuff from Billiam, where Jordan can actually do the best Billiam impression I've ever heard.
Can he? Because I've watched a lot of Billiam content.
Okay. Digimon was weird.
God, it's like he's in the room, right? Right, Kennedy?
It's uncanny.
Right?
Uncanny.
Uncanny. I have Billiam on the phone right now, and he's so excited to have a stunt double.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Actually, joke's on you, that's actually me.
Oh my
Jordan was
God.
going to say, I actually have Billiam in the room right now. We're about to go watch Digimon Tamers and do a video on it.
He's actually in the room playing Digimon right now.
I'm actually Billiam. Oh, I wish.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, that is all awesome to hear. I also want to give a big shout out to friend of the show and guest Slow Beef. They have an awesome game out called Atama. It's a mashup of Forbidden Siren and Hanging Balloons from, why am I spacing on his name? Jordan, what's Hanging Balloons about?
I don't know shit about Hanging Balloons.
It's by Gyu, the guy who wrote Gyu.
Oh my god, Junji Ito.
Yeah, so it's by Hanging Balloons by Junji Ito. You see through the eyes of giant heads trying to kill you. You can find it on Steam.
And that link is https://store.steampower.com/
Oh, fuck off.
Doing the whole thing.
You can find a link to that in the show notes.
Whole thing.
Fuck off,
yeah,
Jordan.
I would have kept going if you didn't stop me.
Yeah, I know you would have.
That's very that scene in Parks and Rec where it's like the sign is the URL.
You're supposed to open that link. Well, you didn't say that. I also want to say props to Jordan for making the opening and ending theme, being a great co-host, and helping with editing. I also want to give props to Merliel for the awesome cover art. You can find her online at Lyle Mer, and Nigel for being our generous art benefactor. Thank you, Dylan, for assistance with editing. You can find his podcast, Anime Out of Context, at animeoutofcontext.com. Thanks to Tucker, who's listening right now, and MaxyBee for assistance with pronunciation, translation, and other miscellaneous research. Thanks to T-Root, Ozzy Rat, and T. Wolfwood, who's listening right now, for being our awesome transcription volunteers. You can find them on the site as they become available. And you can find us on Twitter at ShonenFlopcast and our website, ShonenFlop.com. We're also on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, or wherever else you get your podcast. And come join the Shonen Flop Discord. It's open to everyone, patron or not. Hang out with us, talk about anime, games, or whatever else is on your mind. I also have a monthly movie night. Jordan and I just watched Halloween. That was a great time. And you can find a link to it in the show notes or on our site. And if you've been enjoying the podcast and want to help us keep going, consider subscribing to our Patreon. Wouldn't be able to keep running the show without their support. You get a ton of awesome perks like exclusive content. Jordan, what did we release this month?
Well, this month, David, we released our relook at Witch Watch, our rewatch of Witch Watch, I should say, and our own personal rosters for a potential Shonen Jump fighting game, because apparently they fucking suck at it from what I hear.
Yeah, God, that was a thick episode. And you could even be listening into our recording right now. You can find us at patreon.com/ShonenFlop, and I'm just going to read off a few patrons. All right, first of all, from our Chainsaw Man patron, we have Tongue Punch My Butthole Daddy, Shonafin. They said not to read it, I did it anyway. Moving on down to the Dolphin Dad, we have Tracking Roving Animals for All Loving Girls and Raccoons, Wolfwood. Moving down to the King of the Forest, we have Albie, Cramp, Gabe Lando, Jacob Andrew Galloway, Josh Robinson, Kevin Brings, Marty, Rachel, my lovely girlfriend. We had a great time at the wedding I officiated. Man, officiating a wedding, by the way, super clutch. You get to get all the credit, but none of the work. I love it. Scarlett Muirmanen, T, The Real Jory, and Trevor Schechner.
Also, I would like to thank David for doing a great job as a co-host and also editing the Chibi and Main episodes. And also, guys, I was talking about my messed up Wix site. Well, I moved to Squarespace, and by that I mean I reactivated my old Squarespace website from like 2016. I still got most of my art on it. Check it out. It's literally jordanforbes.art.
I love it. And then, yeah, I think now all the time to go to sign off. Thank you so much for joining us. Tune in next Monday as we give our first thoughts on Super Smartphone. This has been David.
This has been Jordan.
This has been Kennedy.
And you've been listening to Shonen Flop.
Keep on flopping, floppers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.